Aidil Kausar. Okay, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to Prof and also and all my friends. Okay, allow me to speak in English. Okay, and next slide please, Adrian. Okay, can you play the video please? Okay. Okay, so one of the more notable as well as complicated leadership theories is the past goal theory of leadership. So much like the situational leadership developed by Paul Hersey and Ken Blanchard, the past goal theory operates with the idea that leaders should adapt their leadership styles to their subordinates. Developed in 1971 by Robert House, the past goal theory is actually based on the popular expectancy theory of motivation. If you recall, Vroom argued that employees are motivated to the extent that they believe their efforts will lead to improved performance, that improved performance will lead to the attainment of certain rewards, and those certain rewards are desirable to employees. Coin expectancy, instrumentality, and valence respectively, these three components make up the expectancy theory of motivation. So how this relate to the past goal theory? Well, according to the past goal theory, leaders are responsible for outlining a clear path for employees to achieve goals, eliminating those obstacles that stand in their way, and ensuring that desirable rewards exist. So by reducing the ambiguity and obstacles associated with accomplishing goals as well as providing valuable rewards, leaders can improve employee motivation, satisfaction, and job performance. Now, before you start to think that the past goal theory is simply just an alteration of expectancy theory, let me tell you that it gets a little more complicated than that. In addition to what we have discussed, the past goal theory outlines 4 leader behaviors: directive, supportive, participative, and achievement-oriented leadership. So each of these leader behaviors carries certain significance, and not one is appropriate to all situations. So really, on top of clearing paths to goal, reducing obstacle, and providing desirable reward to increase motivation, leaders also need to tailor their leadership style based on specific employee and environment. Now let's talk about each of these leadership style. The first leadership style, directive, involve providing a structure for employees. Essentially, what a leader does is provide a clear outline of how tasks should be performed, specify standard of performance, and communicate policies, rules, and procedures, among other things. Next, supportive leadership, which primarily involve displaying concern for the welfare of employees and creating a warm, friendly environment. Several studies have pointed to the link between supportive leaders' behaviors and increased performance, as they tend to reduce stress and frustration in the workplace. Next leadership style is participative, which involves including employees in decision making and taking their opinion into account. So engaging in participative leadership produce several benefits. Some are a little more obvious than others. So by allowing employees to have more involvement in what directly affect them, employees receive clarity surrounding their goals and how they can achieve them. Also, by involving employees in the goal setting process, employees are far more likely to be committed to the goal that since they played a role in creating them. And then participative leader behavior also transfer more responsibility to the employee, and this increase autonomy in terms of how to perform their work can lead to greater performance outcome. Okay, achievement-oriented. Achievement-oriented behavior takes the form of establishing challenging goals, communicating high performance expectation, and also displaying confidence in employees to achieve those goals. So if you're familiar with transformational leadership, you probably notice a few similarities in this area. But the primary objective of achievement-oriented behavior is to encourage excellence in performance. Alright, so we outlined the different leadership style of behavior that can be utilized with employees. But how do we determine which one is appropriate? So next, we have a few slides here. I'm not going to show one by one, but maybe Adrian can just move to the next slide. Thank you, Adrian. So how do we determine this? Which one from these 4, which one is more appropriate? So what are some of the things that leaders should consider when trying to determine the appropriate leadership according to past goal theory? So the first thing is we have to consider the subordinate themselves. It's not effective to apply one leadership style across all type of employees. Since employees all have different level of experience, confidence, and also abilities. So it makes more sense to evaluate these characteristics and choose a leadership style that is most likely to encourage better performance. So these characteristics include the perceived ability of the employee, their locus control, as well as experience. So let's talk about how the perceived Yeah, Prof. Hello. Okay. 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 Let's talk about the perceived ability, meaning the ability that an employee perceive they possess affect choice of leadership style. Employees with low perceived ability need more directive as well as supervision since they lack the mean to perform their job effective. So for me, in my opinion, from these four, I think the best choice here is the directive leadership style. Okay, I think that's all, Prof. Thank you.